From Arizona's most watched station, this is 12 News.
Imagine a personal assistant that understands money.
That's $20.
Can pick out books.
Spot Goes to School by Eric Hill.
And even recognizes its owner as it tags alongside.
Right now, the mini-bot is making a map of my face. Once it has that map, it can pick me out of a crowd as busy as this one.
You can give him a task, and as the robot performs the task, it makes its own decisions along the way. And that's where the breakthrough is.
This robot is just one of the gadgets unveiled in the Valley this week at the high-tech show called Demo. Some of these technologies, like the Mimeo XI, bring traditional forms of communication, like a dry erase board, into the 21st century.
So I turn it on, and I pick up the marker, K, P, and X.
The device captures the text, then you plug it into a laptop.
There we go. All of our meeting notes were captured so I can share them with anybody, anywhere, at any time.
Robotics, cell phone innovations, even a computer network that connects people across the internet to build a virtual city. The dozens of companies that come to Demo hope their product is the one that makes the next leap, the one that lands them in our homes and our offices. This isn't a Sunday drive in the park. Motorola's new driving simulator tells researchers what we're paying attention to when we're behind the wheel.
And the car is telling me I've arrived at my hotel. It's telling me exactly where my parking spot is at the hotel.
This four-door Saturn tests the latest technology. The car talks to you with directions, phone calls, even email.
Your navigation equipment is telling you should turn left here in order to get to your hotel.
I don't know it yet, but trouble is just around the corner.
I was getting an email message, and this truck's coming straight toward me, and I didn't know what to do.
A smart car can still cause dumb mistakes. That email message distracted me, and researchers caught it all on computers and cameras from every angle.
Back here in the technology area, we have our Wizard of Oz. He's controlling the entire experiment, taking over 130 different measurements of Bram's driving performance, as well as video of actually how Bram is driving.
It's tracking your eyes. The one in the middle is tracking your head. It's called a cyclops.
Those daggers tell researchers whether my eyes are scanning the road or simply staring. The cameras capture my reactions, feet on the accelerator, hands on the wheel. The car designers will use that information in the future, and maybe next time, the smart car will steer me away from trouble.
You were told about the accident long before you ever saw it. That'll be technologies you'll see in the future cars.
In the 1950s, Miami was a mining boomtown, but today the city has hit hard times. Phelps Dodge announced yesterday it will close its Miami mine and lay off 290 local employees. A devastating blow to an already struggling city.
This hardware store right here closed up. This jewelry store here closed up. And clothing store up there closed up too. And the old drugstore closed up too. Now here's a building that's been closed for I don't know how long.
Miami Mayor Elias Garcia says Miami has been struggling to make ends meet for 2 years. The layoffs only add to that struggle.
That's the way mining towns are, you know. You got good copper prices, and then when the prices go down, then the mines they can't produce anymore. They're not making any money.
That message hit home for local miners yesterday.
We were told yesterday morning that there was going to be a curtailment beginning the first part of the year, and that for us to keep focused on our jobs. And,
Mark Bunny is a technician in the Phelps Dodge mine, and he isn't sure what he'll do if he's laid off.
Well, it's a little bit frightening, I guess.
Phelps Dodge will close the mine and refinery in Miami. Statewide, the company will lay off 790 employees. But Miami has been through this before. Mayor Garcia says the city will survive.
The purpose is to create unity between the students here.
To that end, Ironwood High students in Glendale will bring 3,000 Unity bracelets to students at Stuyvesant High School in Manhattan.
And basically just like a gift, and everyone there is going to have them. Everyone at Ironwood's going to have them.
Ironwood students first made contact with Stuyvesant after the September 11th attacks, signing banners and mailing them to their fellow students in New York.
First of all, you lose parents. Where do you go after that?
The students plan to document their experience for Ironwood School paper and the Teen Talk television program. They'll also visit New York police and firefighters and conduct interviews with other teens.
We'll be meeting with
Teacher Roseanne Pesatore hopes the stories extend beyond the tragedy.
The purpose of the trip is not to focus on the tragedy, but to focus on what we can do as a result of the tragedy in terms of unifying all young people across America. And
the students are paying for their trip with poster sales, fundraisers, and donations. They leave November 8th and return November 12th. Bram Resnick.
Floater, center field. The Diamondbacks are world champions.
I was jumping up and down my bed screaming.
Jennifer Matuzak loves the D-backs. She was even happier when she got a permission slip to go to the parade.
My class just jumped up and down. They're like, yeah.
Later that evening, Jennifer and her friends got disappointing news.
About 5:30, 6 o'clock last night, we got a phone call from Jennifer's teacher stating that the superintendent of the Mesa Public Schools has stated that the kids are no longer going.
Later on, the school called again to say only some of the kids could go.
I started crying because we couldn't go and only the 6th graders and 5th graders could go.
This morning, more confusion. 3rd through 6th graders could go, but not K through 2nd. According to the Mesa Unified School District, the confusion was caused by the principal of Stevenson Elementary. He incorrectly thought the district would provide buses for the trip. With no transportation, he had to cancel the trip. Principal Miko then went on the radio asking for help. He got it. Buses were hired. Most kids got to see the parade, but not enough to please everyone.
Let the whole school go. You don't tell kids they can go and then turn around and then take it away from them. You can't do it. You're crushing a lot of hearts.
In Mesa, Bernard Watson, 12 News.
Across the middle of the bond to the 20. He's to the 15, the 10, the 5. He takes it in for 6.
Brian would always tell me, oh, this Milton Vaughn, he's the best. He broke my records.
We did a lot of things together, and we just understood things the same.
3 neighborhood buddies from St. Louis, all of them athletes at Arizona State. And then one of them was gone. Milton Vaughn was just 27 when he died of heart disease 3 years ago, not long after winning a championship with the Arizona Rattlers. But Brian Hill and Steve Kaler would not let go of his memory.
The clothing line was really a way of handling the morning I was kind of going through, just kind of missing my brother.
They created a new line of sportswear called MV7 Sport, Milton's initials and his number with the Rattlers. On the back of the shirts, they displayed the words that Milton lived by.
Take nothing for granted stands for, you know, his young age and passing, life in general. Now, I don't have to really cry or feel bad because I really feel he's here with us.
For 12 News, Bram Resnick. The United States at war. Are pilots at risk?
But I didn't know if I was right side up or upside down.
On a training mission, Brian Udell's disabled jet was plunging nose first toward the Atlantic Ocean at supersonic speed.
When I pull those handles, you're making that choice that, hey, we're trying to save our lives here.
No military pilot has ever survived an ejection at Udell's speed, estimated at up to 800 miles an hour. It was like hitting a wall.
It ripped my helmet mask right off my head. Blew the earplugs right out of my ears, broke all the blood vessels in my head and face. My head was swollen the size of a basketball and my lips were the size of cucumbers.
And his body was tossed like a rag doll.
My left leg took this bar and it bent it out about 45 degrees, about out to here. And when my leg couldn't go out any further, right here at the bottom part, my leg snapped.
His other leg nearly severed, his left arm broken. Udell parachutes into the ocean. And for the first time, he thinks about what's happened.
You know, I've got a wife who's 4 months pregnant with our first child, and I don't want to die out here.
A seat made in Phoenix, never tested at supersonic speeds, made sure Udell would see his family again.
I owe my life to you guys. I mean, that's the way it is, you know. Thanks.
For 12 News, Bram Resnick.
Dr. Singh, back test, please, Dr. Singh.
Hundreds of patients flock to Maricopa Medical Center every day, and Spanish is the first language for more than half of them.
What happened today? What brought you in today?
The hospital relies on a staff of interpreters.
Nausea, vomiting, belly pain.
Nausea, vómito, dolor en el estómago.
12 full-time, 2 part-time, and nearly 100 trained staff members to meet the demand. Sandra Munoz says she likes the job.
They'll cry with, and we'll console the patient. We'll give them educations. They talk to you a lot. So you try to guide them in the best direction that we can medically.
The work is important. A miscommunication can lead to a misdiagnosis.
I had somebody who had, in my opinion, had a sore throat. And the exam was pretty normal for that. And when the translator finally came, it turned out not to be a sore throat at all. That was much lower down in the list and said the person was having chest pain.
Spanish is the most frequently requested language, but it's not the only one.
We have Chinese, Japanese, Italian, German.
And a reassuring word in a patient's own language can make all the difference in the world. For 12 News, Bram Resnick. It's moving day at Donna Jensen's house, and these guys in the protective suits, they're the movers. Mold caused by leaking water infested her $600,000 custom home. Now everything inside, like a slideshow of 14 years of married life, is being wrapped, packed, and shipped to a landfill where it'll be bulldozed and destroyed.
And they're pulling that slideshow in front of you with all your stuff real rapidly. So that's hard.
You don't see hazmat teams too often in $500,000 neighborhoods like this one, but this is just the latest step on a long and painful journey for the Jensen family.
There's that picture. There's my little kids.
This was Donna Jensen last October. The mold forced Jensen, her husband, and their 3 daughters to flee the house more than a year before.
The water was supposed to be coming out here, and it never did.
An air conditioning pipe was left unconnected in the new home's garage, and the steady leaking created a breeding ground for the harmful Stachybotrys mold.
So therefore, it was dripping into the walls, the ductwork, the breathing space in the house.
Physicians' reports show her 3 daughters were exposed to the mold, and it may be making them sick. The insurer is paying to get rid of the family's belongings, but the Jensen's life is on hold while they sue their builder.
There's no going back. Once you do that, you just really can't go back.
And worst of all, a family's treasures are gone. For 12 News, Bram Resnick. That's the sound of an economy in overdrive. Companies started moving out here just 5 or 10 years ago.
Once we started out here in the air park, as soon as a few of us broke ground, it really became a magnet for the rest.
What followed was more like a tidal wave. In 1990, 39,000 people lived north of Shea Boulevard in Scottsdale. That was 30% of the population. Today, an estimated 100,000 people live north of Shea. That's half of Scottsdale's population. And more of them working at the Scottsdale Air Park just south of the Phoenix Open. 33,000 employees there today, about 1 in every 5 jobs in the city. But one of the early business pioneers says hypergrowth has come at a price.
The planning of the cities and the streets and stuff, it was just impossible to stay ahead of that because of the rapid growth.
The air park still has plenty of room to grow. Forecasters say over the next 20 years, 20,000 more jobs are heading there.
These are the tools of the Postal Service. Up against the tools of mail thieves, crowbars, two-way radios, bolt cutters, and even blowtorches. Postal Inspector Mike Cassidy is fighting a war against check fraud and identity theft, and the battlefront is here in the Valley.
There were years where Phoenix was responsible for 40 to 50% of all the volume break-ins for the entire United States.
Why here? The popularity of planned developments with cluster mailboxes, and there's a drug connection.
Mail theft and methamphetamine use go together. We've arrested 206 people for stealing mail so far this year, and every single one of them have been methamphetamine addicts.
A program to reinforce older boxes and add new hockey puck-shaped locks is being tested here first. So far it's working. No break-ins on retrofitted boxes. Neighbors are happy.
It'll deter people who are out to do that type of thing, and they'll go somewhere else.
It's that little extra, that little bit extra that makes everybody feel just a little better.
Except the thieves. These older boxes sitting in a postal graveyard bear the scars of prying criminals. The new boxes shouldn't be such easy prey.
Price tag for staying aloft, $1 billion. and only the federal government can help America West get that money. Today, the Tempe-based airline filed the first application by a major airline for federal loan guarantees.
Confident that it's going to be approved and that it's going to be approved in a matter of weeks.
That means if America West fails, the government will be there to pay back the loan, a vital infusion for one of the Valley's economic anchors, losing millions of dollars a day since the September 11th attacks. The state's also doing its part, offering low-interest loans.
The state of Arizona has been incredibly supportive of America West.
The airline says it won't ask employees for more concessions. 2,300 have already been laid off. But executives' pay would be capped at last year's level for the next 2 years. Industry analysts say the airline is running out of time, but America West is confident the government will come through.
This process is going to be completed in plenty of time for America West.
For more on the story, read tomorrow's Arizona Republic. For 12 News, Bram Resnick. Sheila Fitzgerald lies on the operating table, her body racked by tremors. Shaking is a telltale sign of Parkinson's disease, an affliction of the nervous system. Sheila was diagnosed 8 years ago. The symptoms have steadily worsened over the last few months.
Where I am now is that if I am off the drugs, I don't walk. And I'm tremor. I tremor quite a bit.
Parkinson's has robbed Sheila of her independence and valuable time with her children.
I'm looking forward for her to be able to come and see maybe a softball game, or for her to come to my school field trips and my school parties.
To calm her tremors, Sheila takes up to 35 pills a day. With her condition worsening, doctors suggested a new treatment called deep brain stimulation.
Doctors here at Good Sam have tested this operation over the last year. Sheila Fitzgerald is the first person to undergo the procedure since it was approved for all patients just 2 weeks ago.
During the procedure, doctors drill 2 holes into her skull, 1 on each side. In each hole, they insert a probe. Then they listen to the brain cells
4.5
to find the source of the tremors.
By putting the stimulator into those cells, we can hopefully turn them back into a normal state and improve her symptoms enormously.
You feel dizzy? A little bit.
Sheila stays awake throughout the operation. Finally, the probes reach the right spot. And for a moment at least, the tremors stop.
I think she will be able to go on field trips. Stimulation doesn't cure Parkinson's disease, but it definitely can control it.
Hold it out straight.
For now, that's all Sheila can ask. For 12 News, Bram Resnick. 28 patents. That's fun for Mac McElroy. He designed the invisible hand guiding a 2,000-pound dryer. Driving through a car wash surrounded by water, you kind of feel like you're in a submarine. Well, the same technology they use on submarines is what keeps that dryer off your car. Here's the secret. It's sonar.
It transmits the signal, and the 2 exteriors are the receivers.
Sound waves bounce off the car and back to the blower. That keeps the dryer just 2 inches away from the car at all times.
We want to design it that even if the blower shut off, that it wouldn't damage the car.
It took 5 years to perfect the design, and then business took off.
Within a week, we can have it turned around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much anything.
All right. Good. We're off and running.
This 75-year-old inventor turns to one of the greatest inventors, Thomas Edison, to explain what drives him.
Someone asked him one time, what he would be doing if he hadn't invented the light bulb? And he said, I'd still be working on it.
And Mac McElroy is still working at it too. Okay. For 12 News, Bram Resnick. Before you wash your hands with Dial soap, Katie Schmidt washes hers.
This is a really nice thick lather. It's not runny at all.
The scientists know good lather tells customers they're getting good value. But that's not all. Is it creamy or slippery? And how big are the bubbles?
And there's one more thing we like to look at, and that is if there's any residue on the skin.
Every one of those qualities is rated.
We don't give opinions here. We just give the numbers.
Up to 300 customers will also test a product before it launches. Their comments are vital now that Dial's making a splash with new advertising and new products like Dial Vitamin Soap. Bob Dempson hears everything, and he adjusts the mix. A blend of fat, salt, and a sweet fragrance.
It's almost like making potato salad.
Katie Schmidt and her crew render the verdict.
Look at it, and you can see we have a nice creamy lather.
For 12 News, Bram Resnick.
Cruise the Valley's freeways, and off to each side, what do you see?
plastic bags blowing in the breeze, cans and bottles, and all those cigarette butts. But now there's something new to add to the litter: plastic cup graffiti.
After September 11th, cup signs like this popped up all over Valley overpasses, usually spelling out USA. But 9 months later, there's nothing patriotic about it. ADOT says it's a public nuisance.
One, it's distracting, and two, someone has to clean it up, and usually that someone is us.
If workers don't get to them quickly, cups start falling out. That message of love may disappear, but the cups don't. And another few dozen pieces of trash join the roadside litter. Besides the environmental impact, ADOT says it's also a safety issue.
Somebody gets distracted, looks up at a message, and rears somebody in front of them. There's obviously some damage.
Cup messages are against the law, and if you're caught, there's a price for that birthday greeting.
Police obviously can cite them, and littering on freeways here in the Valley carries a $500 fine.
For 12 News, Mike Stevens.
A mighty wall of dust and wind, 10 miles long, 1,000 feet high, rolled through the valley early this evening.
I just moved here from Orange County. This is cool.
Wind gusts reached in excess of 50 miles an hour. Visibility cut down to near zero in some parts of town. At the peak of the storm, Sky Harbor experienced 30-minute delays.
I don't feel comfortable with the visibility out here.
In Tempe, a crew team working out on the Rio Salado was pulled off the lake. Just in the nick of time, the choking dust touched down as the rowers got off the water. There were some power outages. Gilbert police were manning intersections after some traffic lights went out.
It's just another dust storm.
And it won't be the last.
069.
Some bingo, some bagels. And was that an Elvis sighting?
Little Elvis food.
Actually, this guy runs the place.
It's a wonderful feeling to come into work, to look forward to it, and have a good time every day.
Rick Cañas' operators connect long-distance calls from all over the world.
These folks handle like anywhere between 600 to 800 calls a day, and that can get monotonous. It can get boring.
A few years ago, workers say bosses made their work worse than boring. It was closer to miserable.
We didn't get a break. It was, you couldn't even take a drink of water in between calls.
Things got so bad, Sprint was losing half its employees in a year. Then the bosses did something about it. They started listening to their employees, and attitudes began to change.
Coming to work pumped up, the customer could hear it in your voice. They could hear that you're wanting to help them.
I like what I do now, and I think that I make a difference. At least I hope I do.
The King would agree with that.
Everybody in the Phoenix Rock, dancing to the Phoenix Rock.
For 12 News, Bram Resnick.